Well, everybody, I've got a little bit more than a half an hour until Raw starts, so I thought I'd knock this video out now. A lot of stuff happened over the weekend that I need to talk about. Also, there's a bunch of stuff coming up this week that I need to talk about, all of it wrestling related. The big thing that happened this weekend, obviously, and I want to extend my congratulations to Brock Lesnar for his big victory at UFC 200. I did not see the event, I did not see the fight, because I was at a cookout with a bunch of friends, and this particular group of friends is not interested in watching UFC, so if we did have it on that night, I would have been the only one watching it. So I got the results as they were happening. I kept checking my phone to see if Lesnar won, and he did. So congratulations to him, to take a 5-year layoff to come back and win a fight in the octagon. I mean, that's very impressive. Brock's a beast. He's an athletic specimen, to say the least. It is very interesting because it makes me wonder, is WWE going to push him harder now? Now that he has, he's been working for the WWE, he's been having, infrequent matches for them, for the last few years now. But, now he took a break from doing that and went back to the octagon, won a fight, and now he's going to be at SummerSlam working with Randy Orton, and it's like, man, he's got a legit fight under his belt now, so they could push him as like their big, that gives WWE more reason to protect him and to keep him strong and make him more of a monster moving forward. I also wonder if he's actually going to have more fights in the octagon moving forward. Of course, UFC, big news happened. UFC got sold. So who knows what the direction of that promotion is going to be, what UFC is ultimately going to become. It may have no impact at all. Who knows? But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what WWE does with Lesnar. I think, personally, and this is probably the case anyway, but Lesnar winning this fight pretty much cements that Orton's going to do the job at SummerSlam. I mean, that's clear as day at this point. No way he's going to win a real fight and then come into WWE and lose a worked one. I don't know. I just don't see them doing that, especially someone like, Randy Orton is not like a John Cena or what they want Roman Reigns to be or like anything like that. I mean, Orton's a star, but he's not like up to that like Cena level or anything like that. So I think it's pretty safe to say that Lesnar is going to win at SummerSlam, and he's probably, they may want to consider putting the belt back on him. Of course, with the brand split, everything's gonna, you're gonna get 2 world champions anyway. So, that would be a good opportunity to maybe put one of the 2 world titles on him. Actually, one of my ideas, and I'll talk about this more as we get closer to the brand split, and I'll make a video about it, but one of my thoughts for SmackDown in the direction of that show, maybe they should turn SmackDown into like an NXT style format, mostly squash matches and promos, and then build-ups to the big matches, like what we're seeing right now in NXT with Balor and Nakamura. They kind of just did the one promo, and then they said the match is going to happen in 3-4 weeks, and then you get a bunch of video packages and stuff like that to hype it. So, make the big matches matter, let Balor and Nakamura win squash matches, and then you build up to the big fight, which is happening this week, and I'm going to cover that in a little bit. But, book this show that way and not in the Raw way, basically, and maybe Lesnar as a part-time champion again over on the SmackDown brand would be a good, a good way to book that type of show, because the champion wouldn't need to be on the show every week if you're going to book it like that. He wouldn't need to, if you're not going to have big tag matches or blow your load every single week, you don't need to have the champion there, which I've often said that the champion shouldn't be on the show every week because then he gets overexposed and we get bored of seeing him. But it'll be very interesting to see what happens with Lesnar moving forward. I'm actually really interested in seeing what ultimately happens. As for some of the stuff that's happening this week, there's plenty. Tomorrow night, TNA's doing Destination X. You got Eddie Edwards versus Lashley for the TNA World Title. For the TNA World Title and the X Division title. I guess they went for option D this year. That should be an interesting match, to say the least. And of course, TNA's coming off of the Final Deletion and all the hype surrounding that. Actually, let me talk a little bit more about the Final Deletion, because you've really only seen my live reaction to it and not like a full-fledged review. I enjoyed it for being so off the wall and bonkers. It was funny, it was over the top, it was crazy, but it was a lot of fun to watch. So they entertained me in a way that I think was intended. I've read some reviews that said that the humor was unintentional. I don't think it was. I think Matt Hardy fully intended to get laughs with this. I mean, the line that really cracked me up was when Jeff Hardy was shooting the fireworks at Matt, and Matt was running away, and he yelled, "It's a dilapidated boat!" and went to go hide under the boat. I'm like, come on, he's clearly intending to get laughs with that. The fact that he would yell, "It's a dilapidated boat," those exact words, while running for his life is hilarious to me. And I think it was intentional. Like, a lot of the humor, okay, him, breaking Jeff Hardy's lawn, that was intentionally meant for laughs. I don't care. The accent that Matt puts on, "It's an extraordinary xylophone. Thank you. Gracias, Senor Benjamin." I like that Senor Benjamin has gotten over, actually. That's kind of funny. But yeah, I think the humor with it was intentional. And whether you liked it or not is really up to you and your tastes. But personally, and I've said it before, TNA was so lifeless for so long that to get something that was so bonkers and off-the-wall crazy, and something that they worked on, and something that they legitimately put effort into, it was refreshing in a way. It was like, oh my god, well, I mean, since the move to Destination America and since the move to Pop TV, how many things have they done that are really worth remembering and worth, talking about? There aren't many. Again, some of the tag matches, and EC3 and Rockstar Spud in the hair versus hair match. That's about it. So for them to do something like this and to really swing for the fences and do something this crazy and off the wall, and personally I thought it was funny. I was entertained by it. It was bonkers. It was wild. It was fun. It had that B-movie quality to it, which, having grown up on Mystery Science Theater and things like that, I love me my B-movies. So yeah, I really enjoyed the Final Deletion for what it was. I don't want TNA to become that or to try and replicate that on a regular basis, because then it's just going to get old. But for the one night, I thought it was really funny, and we'll see if they're able to maybe grow their base coming out of this, and maybe this is kind of the spark they needed to find some kind of a footing, and maybe they can right the ship. I mean, I don't think they'll ever get it back up to that Spike TV level again, but this could be the thing to kind of solidify them in their current spot, and hopefully they can be okay moving forward. Again, we'll see. But yeah, some other big stuff coming in this week, especially on Wednesday. We've got Lucha Underground's Ultima Lucha Dos Night 2. Night 1 was very, very fun, very, very exciting. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. Really liked it, really kicked the show off well. And now we've got Night 2 coming up, and I expect it to be more of the same. We've got a big episode of NXT, because the main event is going to be Finn Balor versus Shinsuke Nakamura, and a big, big, I don't want to say dream match, because it's already happened. I mean, it's happened in Japan and various other places, but it's certainly a big match that's worth getting excited over, and definitely worth watching on Wednesday night. So I'm definitely going to check that out. And you also have the first show of the Cruiserweight Classic, which they did their bracketology special last week, and I really liked it. It was a good way to kind of introduce people to the talents, and if people don't know who they are, it was a good way to kind of introduce new audiences to some of these people, like Tajiri and Brian Kendrick, who haven't been in the WWE for a long time. They also had guys like Kota Ibushi, who I know who he is, but a lot of other fans might not, so they educated people on who these guys are. And a lot of those guys I'd never heard of before. Obviously, being who I am, I've heard the name Zack Sabre Jr., I know who Kota Ibushi is, I obviously know who Tajiri, Brian Kendrick, various other guys are. Cedric Alexander's in this. There are tons of guys, but a lot of fans probably don't know who most of them are. So this was a good way to kind of educate people and bring them up to speed. They didn't really get into the whole bracketology aspect of it, which is actually filling out the brackets and figuring out who's going to win what match and moving forward. They made broad predictions, but they didn't really get into the whole filling out of the brackets thing, which really would have been fascinating if they had done something like that. Let the Like, let the fans fill out their own brackets for the tournament. That might be, if they do this again, which Triple H seemed to suggest that they were going to be doing something like this moving forward, that would be a cool thing to do. Just, give it that March Madness flavor or something like that. But, basically what I'll say about the tournament, they've already taped some of it. But what I'll say is that I'm very excited for it. I think it could be pretty cool. If I had to pick a guy that I want to win it, I would probably go with Kota Ibushi. He's the guy I would want to win it. He was just, when he was in New Japan, he was like just on the cusp of getting to that like mainstay main event level, and he got hurt, and unfortunately it kind of derailed him. But he had that really good match with Nakamura at Wrestle Kingdom 9, which everybody said was the match of the year, and I was like, I don't know if it's match of the year, but it's really, really good. And he had an amazing match with AJ at Invasion Attack last year, and then he got hurt, and it was like, man, he'd won the New Japan Cup to get the match with AJ, and he seemed like he was on the rise, and then the injury just kind of derailed him. But he's the guy I want to win the tournament. But again, we'll see. WWE might have a plan moving forward for the winner, so they may have an idea of who they want to win this and if they want to, give them a push after the tournament's over. But whatever this turns out to be, I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be exciting, and especially for the WWE, who has never done a cruiserweight division well at all. I mean, in the 80s, they had like the junior heavyweight title, which was basically just filler matches, and you'd go to an MSG show and they'd be like the opening match or something like that, but they were never treated as anything important. You had the light heavyweight division, which was a reaction to the WCW cruiserweight division, but when you got right down to it, it became like Taka Michinoku and whatever random bumblefucker they could throw in the ring against him at the pay-per-view. I don't think the entire time that he was light heavyweight champion, I don't think Taka Michinoku had a single program. He would just show up at the pay-per-view and have a match. The closest thing he had to a program was the thing with Val Venus, but he's not going to have a light heavyweight title match with Val Venus. And then Gilbert won it, and it became a joke, and the light heavyweight title kind of just died after a while. I think it disappeared for a while. Then S.A. Rios won it, and then it just kind of floated around. It didn't really matter. And then the WCW invasion happened, and they just kind of stuck with the cruiserweight title instead. And then the cruiserweight title, kind of became like it's Rey Mysterio's belt, and that's it's Rey Mysterio and whoever he's working with that month, and that was about it. And then eventually it kind of boiled down to kind of what the X Division has turned into now in TNA, where it's like, all right, let's just cram 6 or 7 guys into a spot festy match and just do that all the time. And then they put the belt on Hornswoggle and just killed it. But basically my point is that they never really did a cruiserweight division that well. One of their big problems was that every time you saw the cruiserweight division, the title was on the line. And that kills a division because it makes it look like there's no depth. That's what I talked about it with Taka Michinoku. It was the same problem that kind of permeated over into the cruiserweight division following the WCW invasion. And that was where WCW did it right, is that they had so many fucking cruiserweights that you could have, they had a ranking system, and guys had to win matches to move up the rankings to eventually get title shots. It almost felt like its own separate show at times, and that's what WWE is doing now. They're giving them their own separate show, so I don't have to worry about them getting fucked over, and it's like, all right, they're going to have a bunch of matches. It's 32 guys, going to have a shitload of matches to ultimately determine who's the best cruiserweight out of these 32. And the cruiserweight champion will be determined when this is over, and we'll see how it goes. I'm looking forward to it. It's fun, it's different, it's something WWE doesn't normally do. So I think it could be a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to it. So, yeah, a lot of big stuff coming up. Also, G1 Climax. I'll post a link in the description to the G1 Climax match listing. Looks like we're going to get some very good matches. Towards the end, we're going to get Okada and Tanahashi again, and we're going to get Ishii versus Makabe, because they're both in block. All 4 of those guys are in block A, I think. So eventually you're going to get those 2 matches. So I have no problem with that. I love both of those pairings, so that's cool to me. And there's a lot of other really great pairings that resulted from this tournament as well. So the G1 Climax, I watched my first one last year. There's no way in hell I'm going to be able to watch every single match, but I made a list of all the ones that I'm going to go out of my way to watch because it looks like there's some pretty damn good ones coming up. So, again, a lot of great stuff coming up this month. I'm going to Battleground in July. July, what day is it? 24th, I think. That should be fun. It should be fun. I get to see AJ in person. If nothing else, I get to see AJ in person. I also get the Shield triple threat, and I also get to see Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. So, yeah, maybe I'll have to do another top 30 list for the matches this month. Who knows? But, that is all I have for now. Now, what is my next video going to be about? Well, I do want to talk about the stuff that happens Tuesday and Wednesday night, so they'll probably it'll all be done in one video that I'll be doing at the end of the week because it's the only way I'm going to be able to do it all. I'll talk about Destination X. I'll talk a little bit about Ultima Lucha, Ultima Lucha Dos. I kind of want to wait until Night 3 is over before reviewing everything in depth, but I'll react to it in some way, shape, or form. I want to talk about the Cruiserweight stuff, and I definitely want to talk about Nakamura versus Balor. So, I'll put all that in the video, but I also want to talk about the WWE Draft, which is happening next week, and I want to talk about, I kind of already alluded to it a little bit, but I want to talk about some of the things that I want out of the draft, and what I want out of the brand split, and what I hope happens. The one thing I hoped for was that there wouldn't be 2 world champions, but I think we're getting that, so that's just a moot point right now, but whatever. But until I get to that video, hope you all enjoy your week, and hope you all enjoy Monday Night Raw, hopefully. But until next time, I'll see you all later.